And you don't need to be flexible to practice yoga or even strong to practice yoga. All you need is just to be supported. And that's exactly what yoga props are for. Welcome to Flow into Alignment. My name is Jocelyn. And in today's video, I'm breaking down yoga props 101. So we're going to the beginning and just talking about yoga props, what they are and what they're useful for and why they matter. Whether you're a beginner or you've been practicing for over 10 years. This video will help you understand how to use yoga props with confidence so you can modify your yoga poses and continue moving in your strength and flexibility as you go through your yoga flows. So hop into some comfortable clothes, grab some yoga props, maybe just a drink, and join me today as I break down yoga props for you in this Yoga Props 101 video. Before I talk about any of the props, I just want to debunk a myth, which is that when you use yoga props, it's a sign of weakness. And that is absolutely not true. It means that you are an advanced yogi because you understand that you can't always do it on your own. And you just need some props to help you understand bone alignment, muscle engagement, and also just to be able to continue to grow in your strength and flexibility. And it also helps to take the strain out of poses. So no matter if you're a beginner or have been practicing yoga for a long time, I know that you have felt strain in some yoga poses and have probably wondered, what can I do to make this yoga pose feel easier, feel less difficult, take the strain out of it? And that's what yoga props and supplies are for, is to do just that, because yoga poses should be bringing ease to the body and not more strain or more difficulty, work, whatever you want to call it. And also because yoga isn't about forcing yourself into a position. It's about finding the ease in the position. And so that's what all of these are useful for and will help you to do. Are you ready right now, even before I talk about these props, to go ahead and get your own? Check out the links below for my free PDF handout where it shows you what my favorite props are, how to get them, where to get them, and all of that information. So check out the links below and get yours for free to download. Let's start off with yoga blocks. The first prop that I would recommend you get. Now, if you've been doing yoga for a while, you already have a set of blocks, and that's great. If you're new to yoga, this is the first prop I would suggest you get. They're useful for so many things. For anything and every pose that you can possibly imagine, the blocks are your go-to. Always your first go-to is blocks. Now, you can always get them on Amazon, but my friend at Coastal Calm Yoga Company makes amazing, beautiful cork blocks. Check out the link below so you can find yours on her webpage and on her shop. And also check out her Instagram page because she shows you how to use her blocks in so many different ways. And it's so fun. She makes it really fun. So check out the links below for that. But let's say you've been doing yoga for years and you're like, how can yoga blocks really keep moving me forward in my practice? Well, that is a good question. Again, it's going to help you continue to line your bone structure up so that your muscles are actually going to be used correctly. One of the ways that I like to use my blocks is in chaturanga. Because a lot of times chaturanga, you want to keep moving forward in your ability to float and hold and hover in chaturanga. And that can become hard, and the blocks are a useful tool for that. So you can place 1 to 2 blocks about where your chest is going to be. Come into your plank. As you know, you're going to push forward through your toes, and then you're going to land your chest exactly where it usually is for your chaturanga. And you can work on building your strength here and your hover by tucking in your pelvis, activating your abdominals and core, activating your arms and chest, and then you can push back up again, and then keep doing that up and down. So that's one useful way to use the blocks. Another is to put your hands on. So let's say that you have a strain. Right now, my left hamstring has been giving me so much trouble. Because of my hip, my bones move out of place easily in my hips. I have to get them adjusted by my chiropractor. But because my hip is slightly out of place, it's causing the muscles of my hips, especially the piriformis, to get really aggravated with me. And so when the piriformis for me gets aggravated, it starts pinching on the sciatic nerve, and then it also starts messing with my hamstring. So right now, my hamstrings aren't happy on the left side, so I can't bend as far forward in my forward folds or even bend as far forward in my pyramid pose. And I need a little bit more stability for my hips. So I use my blocks a little bit more in my forward folds right now in my practice. So let me just show you how you can use the blocks, let's say in your forward fold for pyramid. So when you're in your pyramid, you want to have your hips stable. So I'm going to show you this on my side that I've struggled with. I'm going to place the block between my thighs. And as I squeeze this between my thighs, it's going to help stabilize my hips and keep them from twisting or tilting, continuing to help that left side stay stable and help that piriformis kind of open up and release the tension that it's had for a while. And then I'm going to grab my block here and place my fingers on it. So for me, it's a reference point of you're not going to go any further in your forward fold, and that's okay because this is where my body needs to be right now. And then also it's just a nice little place for me to rest my fingers on to just give it a little bit of a rest so that they're not just hanging out in space and there's not as much strain in my legs and my back. So it really helps me ease as I breathe, taking long deep breaths, ease into pyramid and with the forward fold and pyramid, shifting my weight into my front foot. I can even move the block a little bit more forward. And just taking that here. So continuing to gently deepen the pose in a way that's healthy for the side that's giving me trouble. And you don't even need to be having trouble with your hips to utilize the blocks in that way. Maybe it's that you really want to continue to deepen your pyramid pose, but you've never really known how. Well, it takes bone alignment. And so squeezing the block between your thighs can be helpful for that. And then placing a block in front of you. It's okay. You don't need to reach down and touch the ground. That is not the achievement. The achievement is ease and release of tension in the body. So those are 2 ways you can use your yoga blocks, and let me know in the comments how you use your yoga blocks. Maybe you have a different creative way and a different pose that you found them so helpful and useful that you always return to it right now in your life. The next prop is the yoga strap. It's not used very often in a lot of different places and a lot of different, I don't use it very often myself, I should say, but it is a useful tool. And sometimes it just takes some creativity to figure out how to use it because we're so used to seeing it as a tool to make your arms longer, but it also can be used as a tool to help get your shoulder blades towards the spine. It can also be used to help keep your arms closer to your chest if you're trying to work on chaturanga or if you're trying to work on headstand pose. It helps keep your elbows from splaying out. I've also seen it used when you're trying to do happy cow face of the arms. It can help get you into that deeper pose of stretching out the shoulder. So let me just show you a couple ways you can do that. So first of all, I have the strap set up for that loop to try to keep your elbows close. So as you can see, when you've got that strap in a loop, it's gonna keep you from opening your upper arms out further than they should be. So this is as wide as your arms should be, for at least for me, for my body, and the width of my shoulders. This is as wide as my shoulders should be when I'm prepping for chaturanga, because that, actually, it's a little too wide. Oh, sorry. So let me tighten it up. So let me just show you. So you're gonna loop it through and then you can just tighten it up. So you just pull on the strap, just get a little tighter. There we go. So then when I got my arms by my sides, I'll see that I still can bring my arms by my sides and my elbows are there. So when I'm in chaturanga position, that's where I'll land, and your chest can actually kind of lean into the strap and your arms will act as the assister for that. So this is what it would look like when you're in chaturanga. Or from the side, you can push your arms out open against the strap, which is also nice. And then as you push yourself forward and exhale, come down, you can kind of hold yourself and hover and work on hovering in that way. So that's one way you can use the strap. That's also useful when you're trying to get into headstand and trying to keep the elbows from splaying out. Again, you can use the loop for that. So how do you use it for, let's say, the happy cow face arms position? So sometimes the happy cow face arms, it's just really hard to get them into that deep work here. This is a very hard position to get into sometimes. And so the strap is really useful and helpful for that. So what you would do is you would first work with getting your bottom arm in place. And let's say this is as far as it goes. And that's okay, because everybody's shoulder is different. So you're gonna get your strap, loop it underneath your wrist, and you can even tighten up the loop so that the loop is actually around the wrist. So it acts more as a wristband. So again, shoulder blades towards the spine, using the bicep. And the other arm, you're gonna gently stretch out straight. And then you're gonna work on gently stretching out that your right shoulder. And then if you're in happy cow face, you'll take that lean forward as you work on that. So from the front view, using my other arm, you can first loop your wrist through the strap, bring the strap behind you. Work on getting the arm behind you, inhaling and exhaling, squeezing the arm, shoulder blades towards the spine using the bicep. And then this other arm, you'll slowly work on straightening it. Now don't pull on the strap too aggressively. You want the strap to slide through the hand as the arm goes straight. You just want a little bit of a tug on that back arm. And then again, when you're in happy cow face, you can take that lean forward. So working on opening up the shoulders. Now I did mention too, that you can also use the strap to help open the shoulder blades up and get the shoulder blades closer to the spine. I would honestly recommend that you get a posture assister for that if you want something to actually use in class, because when you use the strap for that, when you're moving through the different positions, especially if you have a sleeveless shirt on, it's going to dig into your skin. So it's not going to be the most comfortable. But if you're just walking around the house, or let's say you have a time at work where you have a little bit of a break, and you're just wanting to work on continuing to open up your chest, get your shoulder blades towards the spine, then the strap is really useful for that. Now, you're probably going to need a really long strap. You're not going to, this one's like, let me see, using my sewing technique of figuring out yardage. So that's, this is about 6-7 foot strap. So you probably would need a 10 to 12 foot strap for this to actually work for you, because not everybody is tiny like me. I'm a tiny person. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the middle of the strap, put it around your neck. If you've got hair, move your hair out of the way. Take the strap behind you. And I actually learned this from my yoga instructor. Thank you, Amy. All right, so you're gonna bring this strap, so middle of the strap at your neck, bring the loops in front of the shoulders, cross them behind you. So let me show you what that looks like. Cross them behind you, bring them back around to the front. And this is why you want a longer strap, because you can see that there's not much strap left even for me. You're gonna take your strap through your loops, and then you're gonna take your shoulder blades back towards your spine and gently tighten the strap. And then it will keep you from rolling your shoulders forward, because you're gonna feel that tension on your shoulder, front of shoulders, and your neck. So it's gonna help you keep your shoulder blades back. Now also, sometimes this might be a bit of a problem if you have tenderness in your neck. This might be pulling on your neck a little bit. So again, that's why I recommend the posture adjuster, which is more of like a vest, just like fur just around the fronts of the shoulders. That will actually be more useful for a long term. But this is helpful if all you have is a strap and you want to work on your posture. This is really great to do that. So next we're going to talk about is the bolster. We can also use, instead of a bolster, if you don't have a bolster, or you just don't have the budget for it, because honestly, they're not cheap. They can be anywhere from $30 to $120 per bolster. So it just may not be something that's accessible to you right now. And that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. You can just get yourself 2 firm bed pillows. I would say either this for the size of a full or queen bed, not a king bed, those pillows are too long. But 2 firm bed pillows will be perfect, absolutely perfect as a replacement for a bolster. Because you can choose to use 1 pillow or 2 pillows depending on what you need them for. So the bolster is another amazing tool, absolutely amazing. So definitely get 2 bed pillows and then, or spend some money on a bolster because it's absolutely amazing. You can also ask for it for Christmas, your birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever the occasion. Use it as an excuse to tell people, hey, you know what I could really use? I could really use a yoga bolster. That way you're not spending your own money. All right. So bolsters. There's also cylindrical bolsters. Those are harder to find. I'll make sure to link all that below. Again, you can get that from my PDF. Those are a little bit harder to find. What you can use instead of a cylindrical bolster is you can use a rolled up yoga mat, or you can find a foam roller. Now, if you do choose to get a foam roller, you'll want it to be the length of the width of your yoga mat. So like the length of a rolled up yoga mat, that's the least amount of length you want in the foam roller. So make sure you look at the dimensions. Again, I will link below a foam roller because those tend to be less expensive, and you can always get some kind of cushiony material to surround it by and strap it on with tape or whatever. You can just make your own cylindrical bolster by just pulling stuff together and what they used to say, MacGyvering it. Anyway, so just find a way to get yourself a cylindrical bolster. You can also find probably a body pillow, a cylindrical body pillow, or it's just a long cylindrical pillow for your bed. So just find ways to do something on a budget if you need to, because there's nothing wrong with that. Save money. All right. So what can a bolster be useful for? It can be useful to sit on. There are times when I am working on my computer and I need to not sit on the couch as much because it's not as beneficial to your hips and back. So sitting on a bolster is great. Also, what it's great for is helping the knees to be lower than the hips. So sometimes if you struggle in seated stretching poses, and when you're sitting straight on the ground and you either cross your ankles or put your feet together and your knees are really far up, a bolster is really useful to be able to allow the knees to fall below your hips or be in line with your hips and be able to get that stretch in your hips and your lower back that you've been dreaming of. So bolster you can sit on, use it as a way to stretch. You can also use it as a way to stretch if you want to fold forward. So I've seen some people use it this way, where if you want to lean forward, but you don't want to hold your upper body forward, you can just lean your head against the bolster and rest. Oh, this does feel amazing. Yep, y'all should try this. This feels amazing. And just let your head rest, let your spine rest, and just, oh, this is so nice. I might just stay here. All right, anyway, gotta move on. All right, so that's you can use it for that. You can also use it as to lean back against for Savasana. Y'all, again, amazing. So, like I said, get yourself some bed pillows if you don't have one of these bolsters. Just run to Walmart, grab it, get them today. Don't stop. Don't stop and go. Don't collect $200. Get yourself some bed pillows. Okay, anyway, so you're gonna lean back so that the bolster should hit right about where the base of your ribs are. So the very bottom rib is where you want the bolster to hit. And you just slowly lean back. Oh, again, this is like, oh, y'all. Oh, this is so nice. You can just open your arms out. You can leave your legs bent. You can stretch the legs out and just take a nap. I don't know if I can finish this video, y'all. This feels so good. Anyway, yes. Okay, gotta move on. So, coming out of it, bend the knees, come up. Okay. All right. I better move on before I fall asleep on you guys. Okay, so as you can tell, this absolutely amazing. So get yourself one today. Links below for that. So moving on. Next is the yoga wheel. I had never heard about the yoga wheel until I took class with my amazing instructor, Amy. And she taught us how to use the yoga wheel. And I'll tell you, it's another amazing tool. There's so many different ways you can use it. Absolutely so many different ways you can use it. One of the things you can do is sit on it, because you've not actually probably seen people use it that way. So let me show you, because this way, a lot of people don't think to use it. They think to use it for back bending. They think to use it underneath maybe their chest when they're trying to work on different things, like in chaturanga, or in working on trying to go into pike stand for headstand. But I bet you haven't seen the yoga wheel used to be able to sit on. And what you just do, take the wheel, sit on it. Literally, just sit on it. And what this is good for is if you struggle with deep squat, or what some people call malasana. I can't remember there's another term for it, but I believe it's malasana, should be. I always teach in English, so sometimes I forget the Sanskrit term for things, for some poses. So, but deep yoga squat. If you struggle with deep yoga squat, sit on the wheel. What it'll help you do is it'll help you get that gentle tuck of your pelvis, activating your pelvic floor, getting your inner thighs engaged, and slowly allowing your shoulders to move over your hips, and then be able to sit in that straight back, activated back and core position that you need and want in your deep squat. So you can use the wheel for that. Great, right? So another way you can use it is, of course, to work on your back bends. And the easiest back bend to use to work with it is if you sit all day, stand all day, or on your phone all day, and your just upper back is just so tight. What you'll just do is bend the knees, lace the hands behind the head. And you've seen this, I think, in one of my videos I'll be posting about this, is kind of prepping the back or stretching the back after a work day. So make sure to check that out in my YouTube. And just working on just inhaling up, exhaling back, and just slowly preparing the upper back for a back bend, and then I'm working on that deep upper body, deep upper back bend. This one's not as restful, but it's as nice and good. So you just want to make sure your shoulder blades are really squeezing towards the spine or squeezing towards the wheel to help you with that back bend. So the wheel is useful for that. You can also use it to go into a deeper supported bridge position. And you can also use it to take a forward fold. So if your legs are out, legs are crossed, wherever they are, feet together, whatever, you will push the wheel into your abdomen and lean forward. Another way you can use it is for restorative yoga. And this is one of the loveliest ways I like to use it. So let's say you are in child's pose, and you've seen this again in one of my videos. I've shown you how to do this. Is you're going to go into supported child's pose. So restorative, remember, is where you are supporting your body in a way where you can completely relax into the position. So you're going to use a cylindrical bolster to sit on, or you're going to use one block or two blocks, or you're going to use a foam roller, you're going to use a rolled up yoga mat. You're going to use whatever underneath your hips to support your hips. Now, yes, can I get my hips down to my heels? Yes, I can. But when I take that full child's pose, for one, my hips pop up a little bit. So I always need some kind of support. So I'm always going to use blocks, for one, in my child's pose. But for two, we're not trying to push and work and push ourselves towards the edge of discomfort. That's not what we're working on in restorative yoga. In restorative yoga, we're working on rest and rejuvenate. So the wheel can go in front of you, and yes, you can just lean forward here. But if you have your pillows or your bolster, you can do a combination. So you can combine props. Oh, such a wonderful thing, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah, this is amazing. Okay, so you'll use your wheel, you'll use your bolster, and then you'll just sink forward into your child's pose. You'll, trust me, you're gonna fall asleep in this one too. Your arms could be crossed or just forward. Your head could be turned to one side. Oh, I better come out of this one too. Again, I'm gonna fall asleep, but oh, this one's another one. So if you are stressed out and want something to do to kind of rest and you have all these beautiful props, use them in restorative style supported child's pose. It is amazing, absolutely amazing. Okay, takes the pressure off your knees, off your lower back, off your neck, all of that stuff. All right, so now let's move on. So we talked about all of these wonderful, awesome props. What is the last one? The foam wedge. Another one I guarantee you have not seen or used before. Again, I didn't know about this until my yoga instructor talked about it and she showed how amazing it was. So there are several people in our class who struggled with wrist pain. And so the first thing they started to use the foam wedge for was for their wrist. Now you will want to put the foam wedge under your yoga mat. One, because it kind of keeps it out of the way and you can always move it forward, you can always step towards it, but also because the foam wedge itself does not have traction. It's kind of a little slippery. So putting your yoga mat on top of it will help with traction so that you actually don't need to push the base of your palm into it, because that defeats the purpose of taking the discomfort out of your wrist. Also, if you do want to use the foam wedge for your wrist, then you may need to cut the foam wedge in half because it's not as wide and long as your yoga mat, as you can tell. So you can see it's not as long. So if I was to use it, I wouldn't get my hands at the full shoulder width apart that I would need for chaturanga and all the other positions on the hands. So that's a useful way. Another useful way that I use it, because I don't have any wrist pain, which I'm very thankful for, and I will cover another video about warming up the wrist for chaturanga, so check out that video in my YouTube. But I use this because, again, like I've talked about earlier, I'm having pain in my left hamstring. So my heels, I can push my heels down, I can force my heels down. But again, what did we talk about at the beginning of this video about yoga poses? It's not about forcing yourself into the pose. It's about finding the ease. So I use the wedge in downward dog to have something for my heels to push against so I can have straight legs and keep working on straight legs, but not have the strain, especially in my left hamstring. So let me just show you. You're going to have it to where you don't want the balls of your feet on the wedge, because then your heels are off the wedge. Instead, you want the balls of the feet in front of the wedge so that your heels can press back against the wedge. And you can push your heels firmly into the wedge and work on straight legs. Now, I'm not fully warm, so as you can tell, my downward dog is not really that deep. It's more of a forward fold, but that's okay, because I'm just showing you the usefulness of this foam wedge. But I find it extremely beneficial for me, as you know, I can use it as I'm starting to warm up, moving through my sun salutations and doing my downward dog, as a way to help keep my muscles lengthened. Because yes, you can do downward dog with lifted heels and bent knees, but sometimes you do want to get that gentle stretch out of your hamstrings that downward dog provides. And so to be able to straighten the legs is helpful. But if you don't have anything to push the heels against, it's just not the same. You don't get the same work out of your legs that you want. You want the full activation of your legs. So being able to push your heels down is great, beneficial, and useful. So what do you think? What do you think of all these amazing props? Let me know what your favorite prop is down in the comments. I would love to know, because maybe you're using your props differently than I have ever done, because I'm still learning. I'm still on a learning journey. I've only been taking yoga for 8 years. So in the span of time, I still have so much to learn. So I'd love to know how you use props and what you use them for. And again, If you're wanting to get your own props, then check out the links below to get your own free PDF of where I have found all my yoga props, and also to be able to get your own cork yoga blocks from Coastal Calm Yoga Company. Check all that in the links below. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Take care. See you guys later.